and welcome back to my channel. My name, as always, is Bloodstained Wings, and today we're going to be painting something that is near and dear to my heart: video games. This is going to be a landscape painting from the newest line in the Final Fantasy series, Final Fantasy XVI. So spoilers if you have not played the game. It's not my fault if you've not played the game so you don't know where this is. So please, if you are going to be playing the game at some point, stop watching this, go play the game, and then you can come back and watch this if you want. It is just a landscape painting of a specific area. I will not be talking about plot for the most part. That being said, here is Dzemekys Falls. I may have pronounced that incorrectly, but that is approximately what it is. I've chosen to do kind of a late game painting because some of the things that happen in the game affect how the sky looks, which is why it has this eerie light. So if you would like to paint along with us, please feel free to do so. These falls have a huge story and history in the game, which I'm not going to get into, but I really love how epic it is and how fantasy orientated it is, because it's very, very fantasy and not real life. This would never happen in real life the way that it happened in the game. So that's really cool, in my opinion, which is part of the reason I decided to paint it. If you are going to paint along, the colors that you will need are titanium white, alizarin crimson, Prussian blue, yellow ochre, and a little bit of viridian hue. I did mix the alizarin crimson and the Prussian blue ahead of time with approximately a 3-to-1 ratio of alizarin crimson to Prussian blue, so that it came out this kind of eerie purple color. Just if you wanted to mix along with us, that's where we started with, so it's not pure either one of those colors. It is a mixture of both in that kind of ratio. So if you're ready, let's paint. Well, thank you for waiting for the next painting video. I hope you guys enjoyed the last video in which I talked about sewing. By now, I will have seen comments on it. Should follow-up video be requested, potentially we will start that in the new year. For now, as you saw in the intro, we are going to be doing a Final Fantasy video game inspired painting. It's a little bit of spoilers, landscape spoilers, I suppose, for Final Fantasy XVI if you have not yet played Final Fantasy XVI or watched anybody play Final Fantasy XVI, with a disregard for any kind of spoilers, you know, as one does, one being me, because I don't have a PlayStation 5. Straight up, don't have one of those. Not gonna buy one either. They're kind of expensive, and for just one game seems a little excessive. So I'm not going to do that. Are there potentially more games I could play? Yes. Do I have time to play those? No. So therefore, it makes no sense. So what we will continue to do is watch other people play them on Twitch. If you guys want to watch somebody's playthrough on YouTube, I'm pretty sure Banisteriopsis might have a... No. But Melody XOX does, for sure. And I'm pretty sure Mandy as well does. That's Mandersnatch. I'm pretty sure she has a Final Fantasy XVI playthrough on the YouTube that you guys can watch and enjoy, because it's wonderful. It is such a wonderful game. I really, really like it. This in particular is a waterfall, which we will get to eventually. As of right now, I'm just kind of getting a nice light purpley kind of color. Because there's a bunch of things that happen in the game that affect the landscape. And that's kind of what I wanted to represent with this, was how the light and the sky affects the landscape. And so we're starting with a purple sky. And actually this whole painting is going to start from purple. Just this like eerie purple sky that I think is going to really be a delight. You may notice my camera angle is a little bit different than previously. That is because we are trying out a new camera arm. Previously, I was using a microphone stand that was very large. It was a floor stand. I am currently not using that, as I no longer have access to that. And so I am using a different device that is attached to my desk, which hopefully still works okay. It is still rather awkward, but it is significantly less awkward than previously. I just have an arm in my face, as opposed to working from the side. So still no face cam available for when I do this, but that's okay. I am seeing that I've got a little bit of an issue over here with the way that I'm doing it, but that's okay. I can sort it out. You just need to blend a little bit more, BSW. You can do this. There we go. See? Blend it out. All right. We've got a nice thin layer of purple going on, which is looking nice. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. And I'm gonna add a little bit more red to it. Okay. This whole painting kind of has this like purple sheen to it, which I think is gonna make it look really cool, hopefully. That's my plan. My plan is for that to make it look really cool. Sorry that the canvas keeps moving everywhere. I have moved, and it's making a lot of things more difficult than it needs to be because things have changed. Things have changed, and therefore there's changes that have happened. So you'll just have to forgive me for the changes, but there we go. We now have purple on our landscape, which is great. That's what we want. I want a little bit more purple. You know what? I want it to be a little bit darker, actually. Out here. Maybe not that dark. Oh my gosh. Grab a whole bunch of white. Well, it is that dark now. The idea was shadows. Just to be clear, my idea here was shadows. There are now a lot of shadows. We may have to come back with a lot of white later to brighten that up, but that's okay. You need the dark to see the light anyways, so I'm sure it'll work out just fine. Okay. There you go. Base layer on. Okay, now we need some fluffy clouds in the sky because that's obviously where we start with. I need some more white. All right. Okay, I've got a whole bunch of white on my brush here, and I'm just gonna kind of dance around in the sky. I need a lot more white. Dance around the sky. Okay, I'm gonna use one of my soft brushes. This is actually a makeup brush, in case anybody wants to know. But then we're just gonna use tiny little circles to blend out the bottom and then floof up the top. Floof the top. There we go. Nice horizontally type cloud. A whole bunch more paint. And there's another cloud like over here that's just kind of floating about, being like, hey, I'm a cloud, which is great. I do have a reference image that is a screenshot from the game based on where someone was playing the game. I believe this is from that Romo Dude stream. Not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. See the little wisps up there? Love that. Those look great. Keep those. I'm now going to grab my fan brush and I'm going to kind of do some like rays coming down from the sky here. You're just going to very lightly add these like light highlights to the background. Now it's very subtle. And I'm just gonna blend this part back into the cloud. And blend that down. Because I want this to be extremely subtle, which is what it is. It's very, very subtle, what you can see going on there, which is nice. And then when I highlight these rocks, I'll use the angle of the light to be the highlight, and then this side will be highlighted from this side because the light is on the other side. See? Things make sense. Okay, good. Next, we have to use a little bit of our imaginations because we're gonna grab a palette knife. Yes? No, because we gotta do all these rocks in the background. And I want them, no, I'm not gonna use a palette knife. I'm gonna use the brush that I was just using with white on it, and I'm gonna grab a little bit of yellow ochre, but I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of this purpley color to give us like a muted purpley color for these background rocks. There we go. And this thing is like a weird rock shape formation. Needs a little bit more of the purple in it. There we go. And then on the top of that is highlighted with some white. There we go. Oh, not quite enough white on that. There we go. And I'm just going to blend the bottom of that out. So that way it looks like it's some kind of thing. It's some kind of thing. This thing also has, well, we should do it dark first and then highlight it. Good plan. Gonna go more into that like dark purpley kind of color, which is gonna be the basis for like all of the darks that happen here. Is all gonna be based off of this purple color. They're supposed to be like broken pieces of a building, I think, is what they are. But they don't really show up all that well. And they're very, very faint and far away. So hopefully we achieve that look. And we can give just like a little bit of some like highlights on it. Soften up everything that's going on. And then we can grab our fan brush again. You know, I might do this with a palette knife, but we're gonna come in with a fan brush anyways, and we'll start there. Yeah, I'm gonna use the palette knife. You know, sometimes you think, yeah, I can do this with brushes, and other times you think, why bother when a freaking palette knife is what you always needed? Use that palette knife. It's what you want. There we go. There's some brown in there, but that's okay. There we go. That's what I'm talking about with this palette knife action. Absolutely. Why use things that are not the palette knife when you can use things that are the palette knife? Oh, I love the texture and the life that it's giving it. It really feels like waterfalls now. Could just regular fan brush have done this too? Yes, arguably it could have. Is it better with a fan brush? Maybe. Is it better with a palette knife? My opinion says yes. Just want this to like come this way a little bit more. Like fill in a little bit more. There we go. There we go. I'm just going to use my tiny palette knife to grab a little bit other one and just bring that down just a little bit into the waterfalls. Yes. So you can see it just kind of breaks right there. I'm going to use this one for the rest of these, I think, just because I want this to really come in right in there. Sneak right in. So the idea here is that these falls are like breaking in certain areas because of the buildings. They're just not quite all there. But then it's water, so it goes wherever the heck it wants, you know? And then I can go back to my big palette knife and do the last little segment here. There. So now we have the waterfall, which is the important part anyways. So what I'm going to do down here is I'm just going to add some mist and just kind of lift upwards just a little, just to help with that like pulling down effect, where you can lift upwards or you can lift down, and it totally works. All right, we have some mist at the bottom of our falls. I think maybe I want some more, oomph to those. So I'm gonna grab actual white paint and just really dabble a little bit of that white paint around to kind of give it that splashing. Yes, much better. There is some actual splashing which is going on, which is good because these are giant waterfalls of incredible magnitude. At least in the game they are. There we go. And then I'm going to use a little bit of goop and a little bit of white to thin down the white. So we can grab a little bit of it and just give it a little bit of a cutoff line, just to indicate where the water is underneath here. What I need to do is bend my knife like a lot more. There we go. Waterfall area. Okay, so now we've got that, which is great. We've got the whole background all done already, and it's looking snazzy. I am going to highlight the rocks in the background. Oops, just a smidgen. Sorry about hitting the camera. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the yellow just to give us a little bit of highlight on these, to indicate that like the light is hitting this, just a little. I'm gonna blend that out a bit. There we go. It just gives it a little highlight, make it seem a little bit more like there are things going on back there that you can't really tell what they are. That's the idea anyways. All right, so using our palette knife, we now get to do these rocks. So first you have to do the dark, then you can do the light. That's the way it works. So I'm grabbing a bit of the yellow and the purple, and I'm mixing them together to get like a weird purpley sandy brown kind of color, which is exactly what I want. And then I'm gonna come in here and just kind of dance this around as this is my background for the rock. And then we're gonna highlight it later. I need like a lot more of this, and I did not realize how much of this I needed. And I may need to make more purple. I thought I made a lot of purple, not gonna lie. I thought I made quite a bit of it. Turns out, no. It's never enough. Okay. It is slightly more purpley, which is fine. It's just because I didn't want to use more yellow ochre. But that's okay. I'm really just worried about this outer edge for now. And then I'm going to come in and make sure the rest of it looks like how it's supposed to look like. This comes down like that. Like that, okay. Now we're just gonna fill in the rest of this. I think what I can do is probably drag this down with another brush, and then I can add the texture afterwards. There we go. All right. That also kind of gave us the shadows we were looking for underneath our big giant rock here. We now have shadows, which is great. Just trying to remove the ones that are over here because the light is coming from this direction, so there shouldn't be shadows this way. There should only be shadows this way. All right, shadows, mountain, good. Now we need some highlights on that. I've got a little bit of white, but I've added some of the background color of the rock into it, so it's not exactly a clean white. And we're just gonna kind of dance it across the tops where I think there's gonna be some of these rocks picking up the color, focusing the highlight on this side of the rock so that it shows that that's where the light is. We're going for like a sandstone kind of look to these rocks. So that's why it's doing what it's doing here with the horizontal layers. That's the idea behind painting it this way, is that I'm getting these horizontal layers that are showcasing how the rock was formed. Hopefully it's just giving like the right amount of texture here. There we go. That looks better on that side. Now there is obviously some different shapes going on this rock. I'm trying to have another one like over here. Just kind of exists on its own. There we go. I've got some like more than one shape on this rock. And then this rock, I just want to have it like do that. So this area is like a little like shelf. And this area like picked up the light differently. There, so it's got like this like weird little shelvy thing. Which the game has, which I'm trying to represent now. And I'm just going to do that little thing that I just did on the other side. I'm going to do that over here to give it a little bit, yes, a little bit of an extra edge there. See, in the darkness between these two, that's what makes it feel more like an actual thing. So make sure you keep that in yours if that happens. I'm just going to, once again, blend out the bottom. Okay, great. Beautiful. We now can start working on the bushes and the ground, which is great. Let's start with the bushes because I can do that. I'm confident that I can do that. So we are going to start with some of the dark purple on our brush here and just kind of follow the lines that I've already laid out just to give it a little bit more oomph. It just helps so that you know where things go. If you find your paint is not flowing well, which mine was not, please feel free, like I did, to grab more of your goop. It helps make things flow better. And always make sure to spiral your brush in the paint, so that way it brings it to a nice peak point. Just in case your bristles are all over the place, which mine definitely were with this brush, so still makes for some pretty sweet branches though. There. Bush. Now we need some dark colors to our bush. And then we can do highlight colors to our bush. So I'm just thinking about how I want this bush to be colored. I'm also thinking about there being another bush in front of these, but that's okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to grab some of the Viridian Hue, which is not yet in this picture, but we're going to have some anyways. I like Viridian Hue, and also I want these to look green. So I'm grabbing some of the Viridian Hue. You know what? I'm going to dull it down with a little bit of that purple just to make it so it's not fully like standing out in the picture. I want it to kind of like make sense for the whole thing. So we've got some green, but it's like really, really dark green. There we go. And we're obviously going to highlight this. So don't worry about it being super dark right now. There we go. Question is, do I want another one? I do. Good ball right there. I'm gonna put it right there. Okay. And before I put the highlight on, what I think I'm gonna do is build some rocks, because I realized instantaneously that I had absolutely forgotten about all of these rocks over here, which is not good. So we need more rock. There we go. All right. These rocks need to exist. And I'm going to have to paint this bush again so that it is on top of this rock, because currently it is not in front of this rock. The rock got painted afterwards, which is why the bush all of a sudden is not in front of the rock, which is not where we want the bush to be. We want the bush to be in front, so. Again, just making sure it has the texture that I want it to have. And there's some more of these rocks over here. And I'm just going to bring this down to fill in this whole section. Oh, it's not working. And I am not having a lot of paint right now. There we go. Let's see if we can fill in a little bit more of this paint section. My canvas is just absorbing my paint for some reason. I did put goop on. And I thought when I put the goop down that I put too much goop down. So, the real question is, how much goop is too much goop? What it is because I'm using a different painting canvas base. This is canvas fabric, not canvas paper. So as a result of not being paper, it is holding everything a lot differently than it would otherwise. Okay, that section has now been filled in. Great. Do I have enough to like clean up this edge? Not really. Okay, well, is what it is. There it is. We're gonna grab some more of that white that we used to highlight on this side. We're gonna use it over here. I'm gonna grab a little bit more yellow to put in with it, I think. Just make it slightly more yellowy. And just grab right across the top. And this is rock, so be very, very gentle with your palette knife here. As always, very gentle with your palette knife when doing rocks. It's just the rules. You gotta have the lightest touch. I have another rock over here. That's just kind of like its own rock. There we go. Kind of defining itself right there. There we go. A little bit of some rocks. I actually really like painting rocks. I find it very calming for some reason. It gives a lot of 3D shape to a 2D image, and once you get good at doing that, it's very satisfying. I find, anyways, that's very satisfying. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like painting rocks? Do you guys like it when I paint rocks? Okay, rocks, good. Now we need to repaint the, oops, I hit the arm again. Hopefully it's not moving things too much, but there we go. Okay, good. Go ahead and add some branches to that guy, and now we can do the highlight on them. Yay, highlight. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab some of the goop. We're going to grab some of the yellow. We're going to grab a little bit of the white. And just a smidge of the green, because it's going to mix with the green anyways, so might as well just pre-mix it with a little bit of the green. All right, and pulling down in one direction, then flipping your brush over to the other side, and you can just give gentle highlights to your brush. I find that highlights really complete a bush. That doesn't really look like a bush until you do the highlights. That's my opinion. And when you do them right, you're like, ooh, that now it has that same satisfying thing with the 3D effect that the rocks do. But if you do it right, it now feels like a real thing. And if you do it wrong, it doesn't. There we go. Just need a little bit brighter there to give it some dimension. My palette knife, I'm going to cut into this one. There. Better. We now have some rocks, which is great. Now we just need a little ledge here and then a pathway of some sort. Everything will be fine. I just have to finish it, right? So again, this is a real location in Final Fantasy XVI that is just a real beauty. And when I saw it, I was like, I have to paint this. It's like, sorry, future me, you have to paint this. Done. I'm gonna use my big brush, I think. And I'm gonna just grab some of the dark color here and just do a little ledge. And regret everything. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. To just regret everything. Okay, cleaning my brush a little bit that had the stuff on it for the highlight. But we're going to come back in and blend this out. The good news is that it does give us that ledge to separate the water from the knot water. That's also giving us this nice yellow color, which I think is kind of doing wonders for us. I think this is a good idea. I think I'm gonna try to grab a little bit more of that yellow. Somehow with a brush where it'll work. And then blend it out with everything so that yes, it will still in fact work. A little bit more of this yellow color through here. Just to give the impression that this is kind of sand-esque. That's the idea, is that this is kind of sand-esque. Which is what it is. It is sand in the game. Okay, and now we just need to blend that together to make sure that the shadow for the rock still makes sense. And it goes from being too dark to being perfect, just like that. All right, and now I'm going to try using my palette knife to give a little bit of some texture to the ground. Maybe it needs more white. We're gonna make that a little bit of a ledge, apparently. That's okay. Ledge it is. I'm just going to pull it down slightly with my brush here. Kind of help that along to be a little ledge. And now maybe I can do, whoops, getting paint all over my new thing. Beautiful. That's important. That's important that everything in my house be absolutely covered, just covered in paint. Okay. I'm back. Okay, so yes, we were trying to do a little highlight on the ground here so that it looked a little bit like dirt, sand kind of thing. We're going for is like a dirt sand kind of thing. Just wanted to break up the monotony here. A little bit of texture. Make it feel more like sand going into this area, but then it's in the shadow of the rock. There we go. Yeah, I think that kind of worked. Makes me feel like I can maybe fix this part where I was like, no. Yes, I can. Haha, take that. Okay, I think if I did a little bit of white on the far one, that was more of a pure white. It might help to, yes, to make it feel more like it's a thing. There. Guys, we did it. So this is my interpretation of some waterfalls that are in Final Fantasy XVI that are absolutely gorgeous. I'm just going to put another bush right here because there is one. Just going to grab a little bit of the lighter color, or the to do bushes, kind of leaves situation. Not leaves, you know, stems. Stems are what I'm trying to say. Stems. I need a little bit more goop. And back into the white with a little bit of the yellow and green to give us a nice lighter color that we can then highlight this bush with. That really worked, so you guys could really see what I mean when it takes its 3D shape. See how now it feels much more 3D than it did before? Aha, see? I told you. It does work after all. All right. Fixing my camera arm just slightly. There we go. Now we can reveal the painting in its entirety. And while we're at it, I just want to give a quick thank you to everybody who watched me do this. You guys are wonderful, and I very much appreciate the time that you take to watch me to paint for no other reason than to just watch me paint. That means a lot to me. If it's my dad's wife, Alexis, hey, what's up? Whoops, not the camera again. If you're watching this with my dad, hey Dad. But this is the final piece. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. It's very like magical and mystical and like fantasy-esque, and like almost exactly what it looks like in the game, which makes me feel really proud of myself that I did the thing in the game correctly. So that's good. Thank you so much, Square Enix, for making Final Fantasy XVI. Absolutely. And thank you so much to my Patreon supporters who constantly make sure that I still am able to do paintings. If you like this painting and you want a painting for yourself monthly, please feel free to join my Patreon. I am still trying to do that. All the time, I promise. And remember that you are loved, you deserve to be loved, and I will catch you next month. Or I guess next year. Mwah! Bye!